All right, guys, how you doing? Welcome to another live trading. Today the market seems to be kind of short. The market is about to open up in about 47 seconds. So we're just gonna wait until the market does that, and then we're gonna try to find some solid entries. For now, I'm trying to look for some entries. I'm just trying to look for shorts as of now. As you can see, the market started off trading up here, and then we traded down here, and now we're forming kind of a range. So we got to be a bit cautious. These two levels got rejected quite a bit. We also had some previous rejection here. So we got to be a little bit cautious. Ideally, we can find some short entries up here or up here, but we're going to see what the market gives us. So for now, we will trade using the volume profile, and also we're using the order flow. As you know, I'm also using Bookmap here quite a bit to find solid entries into my trades. But for now, it's just a waiting game, seeing what the market gives us. The market is now open for about 15 seconds. And now it's just, like always, a waiting game. These levels of interest are there because of the volume profiles, either from today's day, from yesterday, Friday at least, because today's Monday, or from the previous days in the past. So we just mark those in our charts, knowing that, hey, the market could react at those levels quite a bit. And now the most ideal case would be a strong move, probably into this range, and then looking for a short entry. This range obviously is the 800s roughly. 806 was that day's point of control. All right, we're at that level. So now what we're going to look for is an absorption. This was pretty good. However, the market didn't absorb that level. So now I'm just waiting patiently for the market to absorb here. This doesn't count yet, so we just gotta have to be patient a little bit. We're below this range again. Now we're getting back into it. We want to see an absorption here to the long side. So we're just waiting. This could have been potentially an entry signal. Some exhaustion here. The market seems to hold this level. If we break below this level now, pull back, I might look for an entry. I'm trading with 2 contracts again today. So my goal is to do about $500 to $1,000 in profit. This would have been actually a pretty solid trade. However, we missed it. Would have been about 80 ticks so far already. But that's fine. There's going to be new chances. The absorption here wasn't enough for me to go in a trade with full conviction, to be fair. So let's see if the market comes back to this level, does the same. And if it does, then we can potentially find a solid entry as well. For now, the US session is bullish. However, we reject this level quite a bit, so the overall trend is still bearish. So I'm still looking for shorts. But for now, it's just a waiting game. In case you don't know what the volume profile is or how it works and how you can find good entries using the volume profile, I'll record some tutorials in the next coming days to you guys. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will let you know once I upload these tutorials, and then you can just watch them and see how you can find good entries for yourself. It's actually a very simple way of trading and finding very good entries. And now that we're close to our level of interest again, we want to see what the market does now. This was our level of interest. Let's see. No absorption yet. All right. right, let's see. This is a weak high. Now it's gonna get interesting. We want to see how the market reacts here. Yeah, it's lagging a bit. All right, the market pushed through this level. Looks pretty solid to me right now. And now let's wait for a rejection here. Look at this. This is interesting. So I'm going short. My stop loss should be at the 25 roughly. So I'm gonna buy back here. Potential profit can be somewhere here. We're gonna obviously manage this dynamically. So once I'm in the green quite a bit, I will move my take profit to break even for now. This is the first target. This is the second target. The market reacts a bit. I'm going to move my stop loss to break even for now, because the first rule of my trading is do not lose money. And I cannot lose any more money if I am already in break even. And we get filled. Let's see how the market reacts here again. We are still in our range. So the market hopefully react now. We can have some resistance here at this previous liquidity, which we did as well. So once we push through this liquidity to the downside, that could be another entry. But we want to see if the market actually does react there, or if the market wants to keep going up. We see primarily selling coming in, to be fair. There's not that much buying coming in here, but we gotta wait because there's a bunch of liquidity here, which acts like a magnet for the market. Okay, I'm going in short once more. The reasoning behind that is that we have pretty little interest in trading there. And my stop loss is again, look at this. Stop loss at break even. I hope we don't get filled again at break even. That would be annoying. Happens again. All right. At the 94, we can go in for a short trade. Hopeful. That's actually not a solid entry. I'm sorry. Let me just wait a little bit for this to play out. My idea was to get filled here once this level breaks to the downside. But the auction quality here wasn't good enough for me to actually go in with full conviction. Then it's better to just wait a little bit. Now I want to see an absorption to the, like I want to see a buying absorption. That would be amazing. But for now I don't get any. So I'm just going to wait. Look at this. If this level holds, it's going to be very interesting. Now it's going to break down. Yeah, 94 is a good entry. Let me see if I can actually find a re-entry, because this is a solid idea now. 99. Let me check. At the 99s, I would like to sell some. All right. Let's hope I get an entry. And if I do, there we go. All right, I'm in. Profit target right there. Stop loss right here. And I'm gonna manage this dynamically like always. That doesn't look too good for now. So I might get stopped out now. Yep, stopped out. Small loss here. A bit annoying. However, it's part of the game. My idea was for this level to break and then we go further to the downside back into our range. Didn't happen. So we lost. Now the market actually would have been back to break even for my trade. However, cannot predict that. My stop loss, I guess, wasn't ideal. I should have placed it using the order flow, which I didn't do in that case. I just placed my stop loss based on the volume profile. And that didn't work out so well, so part of the game. For now, the market is pretty bullish still. As you can see, ever since we traded, ever since the US market opened up, it's just been going up the whole time. So we just gotta be a bit careful, to be fair. The overall trend, though, is still bearish, in my opinion. These days, the volume point of control is also below yesterday's or Friday's. So everything, in my opinion, is still bearish. However, I now have to wait for a solid confirmation. And if I do get one, then we can re-enter. Because we do have quite a range here. It's a bit annoying now that the market does exactly what I hoped it would. Would have been a nice trade now, but part of the game. Got stopped out very unluckily. Part of the game. This would have been my exit, by the way, right here. So we would have won this trade actually for about 60 ticks. Would have been like a $500 profit roughly. The second profit target would have been right here, which we seem to go to in just a second. You always want to exit a bit before these highs here, because these highs act as resistance. So obviously you don't want to wait until you get stopped out, or until or you don't want to be in a situation where the market moves in your favor and then it turns around right before your profit target, simply because you placed your profit target at that exact high, at this high volume node. You don't want to do that. You want to place it at these edges right here. So here would have been a good edge. Previously, probably here or there would have been a good edge. Just so you guys know, that's how you get out of your trades a little bit better and faster. But for now, the market is obviously still short. I'm a bit annoyed, to be fair, that I completely mismanaged this situation up here, but that's part of the game. So for now, let's just be a bit more patient. I cannot get emotional now. Usually this is where traders end up blowing up their accounts, if they see that the idea actually came to fruition. However, they didn't profit from that. Instead, they lost actually, which is part of the game, obviously. Now most traders, they will try to get in more aggressively without their proper setups. And we want to not do that. It's as simple as that. So we want to keep waiting. We want to be patient. We do not want to trade where there's no level of interest for us. So anything here, I'm not touching Bookmap. I'm not touching TradeAway, where I'm placing my trades from right now. I'm not doing any of that. All right. I am not doing any of that. If I would have gotten a good entry here, or somewhere I had my last exit, or my last entry, I'm sorry, at 99, somewhere here, it would have been a good profit. Yes, I know. However, the market stopped us out, unfortunately, by a few ticks, to be fair. Part of the game, all right? So for now, let's get back to break even if possible. And if not, then we just end the day with a small loss, also fine. Now, a thing where I believe trading can be quite dangerous, in my opinion, is if you have Bookmap open the whole time, you see so much noise, right? So many movements, aggressive buyers, aggressive sellers, and you don't know how to interpret that. And you're like, I need to get in, because you obviously know that each one of these moves, even these tiny moves here, can potentially be hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in profit. All right, I know that. However, if you don't have a trading plan, a strategy that is based upon pure order flow trading, which I do not recommend to any beginner in the first place, then you simply shouldn't be trading the order flow. What you should be trading is the charts, and you look for final confirmation in the order flow, which, as you've seen, I didn't do as well. I only traded using the volume profile in my last trade. So the first two trades were break-even trades. The last one was a loss, because I purely traded the volume profile, which does work sometimes. However, in this case, it just simply didn't, which is fine. But don't be someone who's like kind of like gambling, trying to find an edge in the order flow, which is extremely difficult to do. Finding an edge in the order flow alone, because there's so much noise, so much back and forth, and these usually what you want to see is you want to see something happening in the market. For example, you have a balanced day, so the volume profile is balanced, and then you see the market going to a level of interest, and then you see certain things happening inside the order flow. Great. Then you have a couple of confirmations where you know, hey, statistically speaking, this should now be a profitable trade 8 out of 10 times, for example. With the order flow, especially if you zoom in too much, what you see happening most of the time is, hey, this is an absorption. So the market should potentially, or should definitely now move lower, right? Well, guess what happened? An absorption, like a seller absorption, came in, and now the market is going back up. So there's so many moving parts here. If you just trade the order flow, that I would be very careful if I was you, simply trading the order flow. It does work sometimes. For example, here you see an extremely bad auction quality, and then the market turns around. Now, what usually happens is that the market goes back to either this level or this level. So it rebounds, and it kind of goes back to the level where the bad auction quality started. That's usually how it works. However, these things do not happen with so much statistical significance and relevance that you can trade based off of them. So you got to be a bit more cautious here. Same with trading liquidity. You could have been someone that says, hey, I see liquidity coming in here now, so I'm just going to go for reversal. I'm going to trade this. No, it also doesn't work. Try it. Obviously, make your own experiences. But from experience, I can tell you, from my experience, I can tell you that it's not really that statistically relevant, simply because you see some liquidity coming in here and then some absorption. It usually doesn't work like that. Now, what do we see? We see that this bad auction quality, where right at the level where I just told you the market is most likely going to. And now, since we are still short, in my opinion, or at least this kind of looks balanced now, to be fair, I do not want to trade longs. I still want to look for short entries. However, we should get somewhere in this range here. for me to look for another entry. That'd be nice. But for now, the market is not moving there. So we're just gonna wait. Some exhaustion here, but like I said, you cannot trade based off of these small indications here in the volume profile. And the best trades usually happen in these low volume areas because the market tends to move quite fast because there's not that much that can hold the market back. The market tends to move quite fast in these low volume areas. So if you enter a trade in these high volume areas right here, the market is fighting. There's so much transactioning happening that the market cannot move quickly through that specific zone or price level. So what you like to do, in most cases, what I like to do is I like to trade in these low volume areas right here, because I know if the market does the reaction that I want the market to do, it's actually quite quickly. And then I can just set my stop loss to break even, and that way get in and out of my positions with high conviction, pretty fast, and also with high accuracy. Obviously, if you would draw a volume profile for the US market open session, this right here would be a low volume area, very important. However, in general, if you take a look at the entire day, it's a high volume area. Also, we had no real big rejections or support levels at this area, so I'm not going to trade this. Now, this is going to get more interesting. You see that a lot of volume came in just now. So I believe the market will most likely trade lower from this level because you just saw a bunch of volume coming in at this level. And now you can see the market is trading lower. So the low of the day of the US session just got broken through. And now if I want to trade a short position, meaning I want to bet the market's going lower and I want to profit from that, I want to see a bunch of volume coming in here at this volume profile. On this volume profile on the left hand side. And if I do see a bunch of volume coming in on the volume profile at these lower ends of the market, then that's an indication that the market is about to move lower. Not enough. And then once that happens, you can look for entries to the short side. If an absorption happens, a buying absorption happens, that's another entry signal, which would be ideal in this case as well. But for now, you just wait. You want to see what happens here. Some volume coming in, but not as much as we like to see here yet. Also be cautious because here's a level of interest, so the market could technically bounce off of this level. You got to be very careful here. So if you go short here, know that there's a level of interest here about 40 ticks below. At the 35, there's also a bunch of liquidity, so that usually acts like a magnet, obviously, for the market. However, now this was a good sign. You now want to wait. You see this bump here, that this was actually quite nice. I'm now looking for an absorption. I don't want the market to go back up further. You want to see the market hold here. And if it does, we can look for a nice entry. but the market doesn't yet. So now I'm just gonna wait. The market is too far up this high volume area again for me to actually make a solid entry. So I'm very cautious right now. It, to be fair, looks more like a balanced day right now. So you just wait. We know that at the 35 here, there's a bunch of liquidity. So this could technically become a level of interest. Now that we also know, okay, hey, this looks like a deep profile, basically. We know that we could have some resistance here again, potentially trading actually to the long side. However, we need to see how the market actually reacts at that level. You see, the market is quite dynamic. Nothing is ever set in stone, obviously. The only thing that's interesting is there's a lot more transaction happening here at these lower prices than at these higher prices. And that indicates still that the market is short, because we traded for a very short time here. However, the volume here is pretty much as on these price levels. However, we traded quite a few minutes here, and here was just a very short time. So we could take that into consideration, but for now, we just wait for the market to give us a clearer signal. To be fair, quite boring right now. There's not much happening. You can probably fast forward a little bit. Or I'll just speed up the video just in case, because it's quite a long video right now, just looking for some entries. So if I'm not too lazy in terms of editing these videos, I might speed this up a little bit for you. All right, we're very close to our level of interest again. We have an extended move, so this is not healthy, which is a good sign for a reversal, obviously. What you do want to see now is the market come back to this level or this level after it touched, after it got to the low volume area here. It seems like the market is rejecting this higher volume node right here, which is not what we like to see. You see some exhaustion here. However, the market could reject off of here and then push through to the 05 roughly. 05 is somewhere here. So that is where we actually do want to pay attention. And up until then, we, like always, we just wait. It's a waiting game. For now, the market has been open for about 50 minutes roughly. You see, I just perfectly predicted this reversal. It's always, the market works in these ways. However, this is not a perfect setup. You can trade this, obviously. This could have been a quick push to the, like I said, to the 05s. However, this is not as predictable as you might believe, so you don't want to trade this. And now things are getting a bit more interesting. Like I said, this move is overextended. If you take a look at all of these 1 minute bars, especially the last ones, this one is by far greater than the other ones or than the previous ones. So now you want to see what's happening here at this level. The range is from I think it's from 15 to 04 or to 80. There we go. All right, we're in that range. Lots of buying coming in, lots of buying coming in, lots of buying coming in. You want to see this is an absorption. Perfect. So now you want to go in for a short trade. The market might fish these highs here. It's part of the game. You gotta be cool with that. However, the upside here for our trade is quite large. Let's just hope we don't get fished all the way. Our stop is at the 25s, I believe. Yeah, 25. So let's hope we don't get fished here. I need to actually move this higher by about 1 point or 2 points, roughly. Okay, let's see. We are in the red definitely right now, so gotta be a bit cautious here. Gotta see and wait for the market to actually make a move. We expect some resistance here at the 800s, just so you know. And that's about a 1-to-1 risk to reward then. For now, this level should not break. It's very important. If this breaks, our trade idea is not valid anymore and you need to get out. That's why my stop is there, very important. Now, the first level here at the 05s, this is where the breakout happened. Could also be interesting. So we check for the 05s. 05s could be right here. So you just got to be cautious there. And this is probably where you want to move your stop loss to break even, just so you know. At the 05s, right there. We don't want to see the market transact quite a bit here at the higher levels. So if the market does transact quite a bit here, we need to get out of our position. This low needs to be broken now. If this happens, then our trade idea can be quite solid, to be fair. At the 80s, we have quite a bit of liquidity. So 80s is exactly where I place my take profit. Let's move this up a little bit so we can actually get filled in case the market goes there. But for now, we're still in the red. This level needs to get broken through. If it does, then we are good to go. All right, come on, break it. Good. Like I said, 05s, we will expect some resistance. That's where we most likely will react. And once it, there we go. Now we gotta keep it dynamic. Another level of resistance coming up. Perfect. Gotta be very dynamic now. Maybe the market, I'm just gonna follow it very tightly now. I wanna get out. Boop. Picture. Picture perfect trade, guys. Picture perfect trade. Oh my goodness. So let's recap this just so you know what I did there. This gives me so much joy. I love it when a trade idea actually comes to fruition. Is actually, yeah, this was just beautiful. So obviously we are short today. We want to only look for short entries. Why? Because the volume profile dictates that to us. Then we know, okay, this is a level of interest to us. I need to stop this recording ASAP. This is level of interest to us. To be fair, I saw an absorption here. However, I didn't see full confirmation, I guess, because the market went over my level of absorption quite a bit. Then I placed my stop loss at the 25, 27 level. So shortly above this level, because I knew there's some liquidity. So I don't want to be stopped out there. The market hesitated quite a bit, but then I knew here we would have some resistance, so I placed my take profit shortly or in front of this level of resistance. Got in and out. You can see this is a picture perfect trade, $1,280 in profit with this trade. So guys, that's it. An hour of trading, about I'd say $800 in profit because I lost my first trade. However, that's how it's done, guys. Gotta be patient. Gotta wait for the perfect idea. Set your take profits and stop losses where it makes sense. Okay, don't get fished where it makes sense. And then you can actually make some money trading. Not a promise, obviously, not a guarantee, but that's just what I do. So guys, without further ado, I'll see you tomorrow and I wish you a good day of trading. See ya.